another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast, the one and only show that you need to listen to every day, presented by NBA 2K22. I'm your host, Mo Mutsi, the one they call the Hoop Genius, and alongside my co-host, as always, the three-time NBA champion, Mr. BJ Armstrong. BJ, how you doing today?
AKA Mo, no gimmicks.
Hey, new one. I like that. I like that. No gimmicks, just buckets.
That's it. That's it. But I'm doing well, Mo. I'm doing well. I saw that Joel Embiid.
We going there right away.
Jokic. We going right
away.
there, Mo. We not messing around. Mo, I got to give a big fella Jokic credit. I got to give the big fella credit.
When you say credit,
he stepped in the building. I know he stepped in the building.
In Philly, no less.
There was some haymakers thrown. There was some jabs thrown. This was a heavyweight battle. The big fella, Joel Embiid, came out and threw some haymakers. He threw some punches that would have knocked a lot of people down for the count.
Yep.
But the big fella Jokic said, I can take it. And he came back and played one of the great floor games. I don't even know what kind of game it was. It was a great game. It wasn't his best statistic. No, it wasn't his best statistical game, but it was just a great game. It was just a great game. And I got to give Jokic credit. And you know what I like more than anything? Did you see those two embrace after the game? The
respect they have, even before the game. Did you hear their interviews before the game?
Yes.
They are both huge fans of each other. So this is what I want to say is, it's important we respect both. And not one down.
No, this is great.
But to see the two elite big men, because in my lifetime, I've never seen live and direct two elite bigs going at it like this.
Oh, wow.
I've watched tapes of the old school big men. You got to understand, I was born in the 90s. So by the time it came to the 2000s, you'd have like Shaq going up against Ben Wallace. But that's not the same as this, because Ben Wallace was never a scorer in the same way that Shaq was. So it's never a battle of two bigs. And then big men got frozen out of the game completely, and now they're back. So I loved it. For you guys who didn't watch it, the Sixers were up by 19 points. Nikola Jokic remained unfazed, came back.
Unfazed.
But I also want to shout out to Bones Highland. Busy Bones.
Yeah.
LaShawn Highland had a huge game. Best game of his career so far. I told everyone he was one to watch from the draft this year, and he showed it why last night. But it's Wednesday, so you guys know what that means. It's time we talk MVP. And I think perfect timing that the two leading MVP candidates went up against each other. And then, may I add, we saw Giannis Antetokounmpo, the third MVP candidate, go up against the Defensive Player of the Year and drop, what did he drop, 33? And it was the first win. It was the first win that Milwaukee has ever had in Utah since when?
2001. Did I hear? Did I hear that correct?
Yep. It was when Giannis Antetokounmpo was 6 years old. So he came out and he absolutely did what he did. I would say absolutely went off, because it was just another night in the life. Giannis had 30, 15, 4, and he played a great game. The Milwaukee Bucks came away with the win. But BJ, we talk about the MVP every Wednesday now on the show. I need your top three in order, going from 3 to 1.
Mo, as you know, this MVP this year changes
every day
by the minute. It changes by the minute. It's not even every day. It changes by the minute. Okay, Mo, I have it tied right now.
No,
Mo. Jokic and Embiid are right there. Jokic and Embiid are right there.
I need an answer.
No, I'm giving you the answer. Mo, Jokic and Embiid are right there.
Okay.
I can't take Giannis out because I can't overlook. He gets 30 and I'm like, he keeps doing this. Like, Mo,
every night.
I want to recognize excellence when I see it.
Yes.
I'm not going to discredit him.
Okay.
But Embiid and Jokic, they're running neck and neck.
Okay, but
I don't know what's going to happen in these last 10 games.
The season ended now, and you were given a ballot by the people at the NBA, and you had to give a first place vote, who gets the first place vote?
By the skin on my chinny chin. I'm gonna give it to Joel Embiid.
Why?
Because he is putting up MVP numbers. His team is currently in second place. I think they have a chance this year to win the entire championship. I think they have a chance. I just think he overall has played at he's been such a dominant force from start to finish. However, Nikola
Jokic.
Nikola Jokic. I want to put some respect on that man's game. That man made some plays last night. I said, wow. I have to recognize when I am seeing something that's so incredible that I don't see it. Like, I can't forget, he's not playing with Jamal Murray. He's not playing with Michael Porter Jr. And he's got the train moving, Mo.
Yep.
Mo. And Mo, if he continues down this path, I would not be surprised if he wins back-to-back MVP, because Mo, he's doing it. Now, I think it's at this moment, if you're asking me who I'm going to place my vote for, I'm going to say Joel Embiid. But when I tell you it's slim, Mo, they're to me, they're neck and neck right now.
They are.
They are. I mean, this is great stuff.
If I'm placing my vote right now, the vote's going to Nikola Jokic. You say Embiid's putting up MVP numbers.
Why, Mo?
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you. Embiid's putting up MVP numbers. Jokic is putting up better numbers than Embiid. The only ones that Joel Embiid leads in is scoring, because he's averaging 2 more points per game, 3 more points per game, and maybe half a block more per game. But the rest of it...
Can I say something more? Can I say something real quick? Sorry to interrupt. Let's not do stats.
Okay. But you began your answer. When I asked you why Joel Embiid, you said he's putting up MVP numbers.
Okay. Let me correct myself. He is being so dominant on both ends of the court. I think he's the most impactful player in the entire NBA at the moment.
Okay.
When I think he's the most impactful player.
You said numbers, meaning, so I wanted to go down the numbers.
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. When I mean numbers, there are a lot of players who are putting up numbers on bad teams.
Of course.
There's only one number that matters, the win column.
And there we have it. Because last night, the Sixers were up big, and Jokic wasn't fazed. He came back, and the Nuggets won that game. Okay. So if this is a head-to-head, this is a match. The matchups do count in this. We all know the whole world was watching the battle of the MVPs. Jokic came away with the win. Let's look at last week. You've traded for James Harden now, and you get destroyed by the 10th seed Brooklyn Nets. And I get everyone's going on to Harden about him missing shots and getting shut down. But if you are the MVP, there's no way you're letting your team get run up by that much. And then just a couple weeks before that, they lost by 50 to the Boston Celtics. That's with Joel Embiid on the court playing. So for those reasons, I can't give it to Joel Embiid over Nikola Jokic. And also I want to add this to the fact. Joel Embiid's supporting cast is much, even before the Harden trade, significantly better than who Nikola Jokic had to play with. And at this point in the season, both teams have won the same amount of games. Okay. So Jokic has won just as many games against Embiid with a much worse team around him. And when you say Jokic's best attribute is his passing, look who he's passing the ball to. Imagine if he had a Tyrese Maxey or a Seth Curry waiting to catch the ball, or even now a James Harden to play alongside. I'm going for Jokic for this one because the Denver Nuggets have no business being the 6th seed in the Western Conference without 2 of their max caliber players on the court for the entire season. No business whatsoever.
I can't argue any of that. Mo, I can't argue one word you said. But again, I'm going to say this from start to finish. Joel Embiid has been the most impactful, even the most dominant player in the entire NBA on both sides of the ball.
Most impactful, aside from the games that have mattered most so far this season. The games with the most amount of pressure, he has not been the most impactful.
Okay, that may be true. But in the end, when you say offense and defense, wins and losses,
they have the same amount
when
of wins.
When you said that, I thought that's where I was at without even knowing that. I said, I have them neck and neck. But if you're asking me today, from start to finish, I think Joel, good. I was like, it's like just, it's like that. But I think they are neck and neck right now. And you said, I can't do that. So I gave you.
I respect it. I have
the Jokic kid. Yeah, the Jokic kid. I just want to say this. I think this is great for the NBA. I think this is a great race. And I think when we look back, we're going to look at 2 of the better centers in this era for the way they play and what they bring to the game. They both kind of do it in their own way. Okay. Jokic is a different player than Joel, but in some regards, they're kind of the same. You know, they're kind of like both true bigs. I
was watching ESPN this morning and I saw something that really annoyed me. And it was someone, I can't remember who it was. They were on the show and they said, I can't pick Jokic for MVP. He's too slow. I was like, did you not watch the game last night? I even texted you when it was on. The Denver Nuggets just started running and they cut the lead down to 5. I had never seen a guy as big as Jokic try and move his legs that quick to try and get up the court. But most of the time, he doesn't even need to run like that because he catches the rebound with one hand, looks down the court, see if he can throw a touchdown. If he doesn't, he'll push the ball himself. It's crazy to me watching this guy play.
I'm glad you brought that up, Bo, because one of the Kevin Durant in his interview after the game versus the Philadelphia 76ers, he said something to the effect, we knew that this team wouldn't give second, third, fourth efforts. Talking about the Philadelphia 76ers. One of the things I rewatched the game because I wanted to understand. It's always interesting to me is when you go from one team to another because you kind of know the inner workings of the other team.
Yeah.
The thing that's interesting that Brooklyn was doing was they really put emphasis on transition. When Philly would miss, they put emphasis on let's get down in transition. Okay. If you've watched every game since then, watch how the other teams try.
It's a copycat league
to get from their defensive end to the offensive end, because defensively, the Philadelphia 76ers don't get back in transition. And that's normally a staple of a Doc Rivers team, his transition defense. Now, a lot of that is because James Harden, who now has assumed the primary ball handler position, he's below the free throw line, trying to drive. And when he drives and doesn't get fouled, that puts an enormous amount of transition because your shooters now are in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay. So look for that because Jokic last night, I haven't seen the big fella really get moving like this in a long time. You can tell he was moving. I was like, okay, clearly transition offense is a key thing that this is a very sophisticated league. They make it look easy, but once they find your weakness, they're going to explore it. They're going to exploit it. And right now you see it. I told you in fun that I think I could beat Jokic in a race right now.
Yeah. After last night, I don't know if I could.
After last night, I saw the big fella humping. I said, the big fella, you know what? He was moving last night.
Yep.
So,
and just, that transition defense for the Sixers.
Showed something.
Transition defense for the Sixers. How much of that would change if they just weren't complaining for foul calls that they think the refs missed? Because I see a lot. I see it with a few other players in the league, not just the Sixers, not just Embiid and Harden. You see it with Luka. You see it with Tatum does it a lot as well.
Well,
complaining that because what do you expect to happen? Okay, you've taken it to the paint. You've missed your layup. You're complaining to the referee about the foul not being called, but the ball's already past half court. The other team's attacking. Do you think the referee's going to stop play and say, guys, come back. I missed this call. Tatum has convinced me by shouting at me that I missed the call. I just don't get it.
So when you have a team like this and you make a midseason trade like this, it's very difficult to do because you don't have practice time. And it's been interesting to watch this trade because when the trade was first made, Maxey was playing well, so well that we said they got a big three now.
Yes.
Suddenly now Maxey has fell off and now Tobias Harris is playing better. And the thing I find interesting is I don't like the pace that the Philadelphia 76ers are playing. I like it when they play fast. I like it when Maxey is allowed to push the pace. That's just my. Now, when Maxey pushes it, I like guards who play downhill. Mo, you can't win in this league when you can't play downhill. James Harden, I don't think he will get in good enough shape at this stage to be able to play downhill. He has to get in his rhythm.
But he was the one finding Maxey on the break for those first few games.
Yes, because they were playing much faster. Now, Tobias Harris wasn't as effective because Maxey was moving the ball. They were pushing the ball ahead because what you want to do, Mo, is you want to get as many uncontested shots as you can.
Yes.
I don't like it when they do this slow down pace with James Harden and they're doing this. So I think Doc Rivers will clean this up, get Maxey back on the ball a little bit because James Harden right now has slowed the game down to me too much.
Yeah. Well, my other thing with Tobias Harris is the ball sticks in his hands too much. The Philadelphia are so much better when he catches the ball and he makes a quick decision. When he catches the ball and tries to go one-on-one with his defender, tries to find his own bucket through a crowded paint. I don't like that. And sometimes it works and it shows up on a stat sheet. He's put up 20 points, whatever, 25 points, whatever. But I don't like that. I think that you're right in saying they need to play with a faster pace, but even in the half court, moving the ball more rather than catching it and thinking,
I agree.
I need to get myself a bucket.
They need to play and try to get as many uncontested shots.
Yes.
Joel Embiid, to me, you got to simplify this. Joel Embiid is our half court offense.
Yep. And
he's like Kareem.
They've got away
half court.
They've got away from a lot of what they did in the first few games was dribble handoffs with Embiid and Harden. Yeah. But I'm not seeing those same amount in the last couple games. I'm wondering why they've gone away from that.
Well, sometimes, Mo, you don't get a chance to practice. James Harden missed a game in there. Practice is very limited. Travel, they've been playing on the road. And right now, Mo, you're trying to just get through the regular season. In addition to, like, these guys just got traded. They played 6 or 7 games now together? Maybe 8 games max?
Yeah.
Whatever they played. So it's just not enough time. Hopefully Doc Rivers will be able to clean this up because I don't like the pace they're playing. You cannot play at this pace, especially during the regular season, and then win games. You got to play at the regular season pace, and then when the game slows down, JoJo has to get the ball on the box and play through him. All of this pick and pop with JoJo, I don't like that. Roll the big fella to the basket, replace, swing, get him the ball. Let's simplify this game.
He's a mismatch
right now
on everyone.
Yeah, because right now James Harden he's He's doing it. It almost reminds me of what you saw in Houston. He's doing his thing again.
You want me to give them the hot take that I told you that I was going to give them yesterday? Or is it too much for them? Do you think it's too much for them? I don't know if the people are going to understand.
Give it to us. Give it to us, Mo. Give it to us. Give it to us.
All time. I'm taking Paul Pierce over James Harden. And I don't think it's that hard of a take. I don't think it's that hard of a take. Let's look at it like this. Let me break it down for you real quick. Paul Pierce was given 2 Hall of Fame teammates for 1 season. In that first season, they win a championship. James Harden has not been able to figure it out with any of his Hall of Fame teammates. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Dwight Howard. Now he's got Joel Embiid. And I'm pretty sure there's more guys that I've left off the list too. All I'm saying is I'm rocking with the truth. And I know people are going to pull up the stats. James Harden scores more threes and he did it. I'm talking buckets. I ain't talking stats. I'm talking Paul Pierce, cold hard killer when he was on the court. I got no B. Do you agree with that take?
What I agree with is this.
I'm
not getting into
politics.
I'm not getting I'm not politicking. I'm not dodging this.
All right.
I can't help. See, the problem is, Mo, when you play, you can't just say things. You got to understand why you're saying it. Like, when I look at James Harden, and I say, okay, hey, man, I can't discredit a man averaged, 30-something points a game.
Fantastic player.
Scoring, MVP. I can't, just, whether or not I believe he was MVP, but it doesn't matter. I got to understand what I'm saying because I have to be accountable for what I say. Can't just say things because I played in that game. Mm-hmm. And when you play in that game, you got to respect that game. This ain't about me disrespecting any player. Hey, we are who we are. However, there's a style that you have to play that translates to winning basketball. Okay? Mo, there's a style that you have to play. This isn't,
and
I don't care what era. I don't care what era you play in. Everybody keeps saying, oh, old school, the game is different now. No, the game is not different now. The game, it just looks different because the rules are different. But in the end, there's a style that the game is going to come back to whoever's going to be crowned champion. And they're going to do those 3 things at an elite level better than any other team. They're going to defend, they're going to rebound, and they're going to pass the ball. Okay? Unfortunately, Mo, I tend to look at the game from a championship perspective.
And so you should. Okay. You're a champion.
Yeah. And some people will look at stats and some people. So when I say this, I'm looking at there's a style that has to be played. And when you say defend and rebound, you can't argue who's better, Paul Pierce or James Harden. This isn't me, James Harden. Paul Pierce was one of the elite defenders and competitors in the NBA at his position. That's just, it is. That is what it is.
That's a fact. The kids don't know because they only started watching late in his career.
That is what it is. You have to play, especially at that wing position. Mo, you hear me say this all the time. Somebody got to get a stop. If you're going to win a championship, you got to get a stop. Well, you know what? Paul Pierce took on the very best of his era. He took on LeBron. Mm-hmm. He took on Kobe. Mm-hmm. He took on Tracy McGrady. Mm-hmm. He took them all on. And he was one of the best on that end of the floor. In addition, he could score. He could score, Mo.
He could score with the best.
You could drop the ball. You could drop the ball off to him and say, go get a bucket. Now, I'm going to tell you something else about Paul Pierce. Nobody can say, when those lights were shining the brightest, truth will show up at the building. Now, I don't, that's just it. There is a style that you got to look for to say, oh, wow. Some players can't play championship caliber basketball. There's levels to this, Mo.
Yep.
Okay.
Facts.
Mo. There's levels. So
Karl Malone, for example, great regular season player.
He got to the finals, Mo.
And so he did.
Got to the finals. He got to the finals. He had one. Karl Malone had one problem. Actually, he had two problems. You want to know what those problems were?
I have a big problem, and I'm not going to say that on the.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Michael Jordan.
Yes.
That's his problem.
Yes.
Those were the two problems
Yes.
Say one person, but you got to say the both things. Michael Jordan. Karl Malone was MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan was just that much better. That's just what it is. Charles Barkley. Michael Jordan was just that much better. That's just what it is. Okay. Paul Pierce, getting back to this, plays a championship style of play. Defensively, rebounding the ball as a guard or wing, he was elite. Elite in any era. I don't care what era. Mm-hmm. He was elite.
Facts.
Okay. Paul Pierce was strong enough to take on a double team in the last 4 minutes of a game. That's a whole lot different than just getting 10, 12 assists in the game. Just because you get 10, 12 assists doesn't mean that you are an elite passer in the last 4 minutes of a game, because you got to be strong enough, big enough to accept the double team, to create the space so that your other four players have the correct operating space. Paul Pierce was that. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's now, no one can argue that, so that people can understand why I'm saying I don't think you have a hot take. I just think it's important for people to understand why Paul Pierce was a championship caliber player. Because James Harden is going to have to change his style of play if he's going to be named champion in this league. And part of that is going to be on the defensive end.
Yes. And just to bring it all.
And he's going to have to rebound and do the. Now, does he get assists and numbers? Yeah, he's clever. Because James Harden good enough to accept the double team, take on the double team, pass it to where his other four players are in space to operate to get an uncontested shot. I know Paul Pierce can do that because Doc Rivers would jump that ball off to him in the middle of the court. Think how strong you have to be where they would just dump it off to him in the middle of the court, put the other four guys on the perimeter and say, work. And Paul would either score, get fouled, or make the right play. And he did that consistently in the fourth quarter, and you knew the play was coming.
Yes, sir.
Now, not everybody can do that, Mo. So don't give me the stats, because this isn't about stats. This is about facts. Until James Harden shows that. And the interesting thing about this is Doc Rivers coached Paul Pierce.
Yep.
And Doc Rivers now is coaching James Harden.
Yep.
So I know Doc Rivers knows about defense. And I know this. He knows about how to get the ball to his best player in crunch time. So now we have a chance to see. But Paul Pierce, come on now.
Yes, sir. That's the truth.
Come on.
That's the truth. But I just want to bring it full circle and say, James Harden's got an MVP, Paul Pierce don't. But Paul Pierce has a finals MVP. So with Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, whoever it is, I know none of these guys are going to be satisfied with just the MVP. I loved when Giannis won the MVP. He said, listen, I don't care. I want to win a championship. He went out and did it. So not only is the MVP race hotting up, I want to see which one of these guys can deliver in the postseason. And we want to hear from you as well. Get involved in the conversation. Tweet us on social media. Let us know who your MVP pick is. Get involved. We read all of your replies. Get involved in the conversation, because this debate's going to continue for the next 3 or 4 weeks as the season continues. Go ahead.
Mo, can I ask you this one question?
Of course.
I was still playing in the league when I saw this, Mo. David Robertson, the great David Robertson, the Admiral, was receiving his MVP trophy. And on the other end, there was a man by the name of Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you think, Mo, that if they're announcing the MVP, that they're just getting someone else at the other end riled up? Because I'm telling you right now, I remember watching that, Mo.
That was one of the craziest performances from Hakeem's career.
Mo, let me tell you this, Mo. I know we run out of time, but I'm going to say this. Charles Barkley received the MVP that year, as he should. When we won, I don't know, the third championship or something, 92 or 93, I can't remember. And I remember that look in Jordan's eyes. And that's all I'm saying, Mo. So, Mo, whoever receives the MVP not named Giannis, better be ready, because I'm telling you right now, I'm seeing that look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing that look, Mo. I've seen this look. And when you receive that MVP, you better be able to back it up.
Well, unfortunately for us, the league no longer gives out the MVP on court during the playoffs. They do a ceremony for it at the end of the season, at the end of the playoffs. But I'm hoping, I don't know when it's coming out this year. Usually it's the end of June. But I wish they would announce it before the playoffs begin and give them the motivation.
Mo, that's what keeps it, Mo. That's what keeps it hype. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you right now, these guys are listening. They may not comment, but they're listening. And I'm telling you, Mr. Antetokounmpo is listening.
I respect
He's listening, Mo.
League needs to be afraid. League needs to be afraid, but you know.
And I wouldn't be surprised if KD is not listening.
Yeah.
Now, Mo.
Same way Draymond still thinks he's the defensive player of the year, even though he missed a few months.
These guys think about this, Mo. In the Eastern Conference, you got KD, Giannis, and Joel Embiid. What a treat.
I'll tell you.
What a treat. I gotta get yourself to I'm not taking it away from yourself.
You gotta watch on YouTube to see BD's reaction when I say these things. And Tatum. And DeRozan. And we gotta go some love in DeRozan too.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta get Stacey King on. Because 100%. You know what? Did you see they lost last night?
No, but the comeback where they almost closed the gap and they couldn't get. I thought they were gonna win. They came back from 23 points down, made it a 3-point game. And DeRozan was being trapped for almost the entirety of the fixture around half court.
But you can't lose these games. Now you can't lose.
You can't lose to the Sacramento Kings
at this stage of the season. You can't lose these type of games.
That's facts. And do you know what else you can't do? You can't miss an episode of the Hoop Genius podcast. So make sure that you're subscribed. Apple, Spotify. Leave us a review if you enjoy the show. We appreciate all of you guys who tune in. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tweet out the show. Do whatever you can do to spread the love, because we're going to keep bringing you amazing episodes as the season continues to roll on. We'll be back, and we're still going to answer all your questions on Friday's edition of Hoopology. We didn't get a chance last week because we had a special guest come through, but we still got your questions there ready to be answered. So you still got one more day to get your questions in. Be ready, because we're coming. Friday, we'll be back, but we'll be back tomorrow morning as well, talking about all the biggest topics around the NBA. And until then, my peoples, get buckets.